guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are in this secret airport hangar deep within Los Angeles because guess what? We have that performance compact car that you've been waiting for. This is it. This is the totally redesigned from top to bottom 2023 Honda Civic Type R. But before we get into this new 11th generation of the ultimate hot hatch, let's talk about what's going on here. A couple different celebrations going on for this redesign. We have the 50th anniversary of the Honda Civic, which remember is super important because without the Civic, we would not, of course, have the Civic Type R, but it's also the 30-year anniversary of the Type R performance nameplate. First appeared all the way back in 1992. It was the Honda NSX-R, which many aficionados called the Type R. And then when we look at the Civic platform, it first appeared all the way back in 1997. Now remember, living here in the United States, we have not had a lot of Type R history of our very own until 2017 when the 10th gen Type R came to be, and that's where we see the continuation with this new generation. Now, Honda has done the work. The car is faster. It's the fastest front-wheel drive vehicle around Suzuka. They've been doing the work at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, of course, going after that time, but has Honda done the right work with the right recipe to make this a super standout that's gonna be an icon for years to come? So let's go ahead, let's dive into our championship white, brand new Type R and see, is it the best new performance compact hatchback that you should be buying and parking in your garage? Let's go ahead and dive in. So right off the bat, you're gonna notice that this 11th generation Type R is wider, longer, and lower. That's gonna do a couple things. First of all, from a look standpoint, it looks drop dead sexy. Second of all, it's gonna give you some great aerodynamic efficiency, and also when you're going around your favorite racetrack or curvy road, create a stabilized environment for you to get the most out of this car. Now, as we drop down, what do we got going on our headlights? So you can see we have the daytime running lamps, LED, illuminated, very angular. Everything inside the housing is blacked out, and of course you're gonna have LED headlights. Now, one thing that I do like that they did is they brought a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy, but nicely done on the bottom edge of the headlight housing. And then here's my new favorite part. So when you look at the 10th gen, there were quite a few fake vents at the front, especially that one that looked like a waffle iron. That's all gone. Nice, clean, sculpted. You'll notice that we have that gloss black that rises up, and that's gonna cause the air to just gently cruise right around the front of this new Type R. I love the way you have your lower extension on the corners and the way that they did a body color match. Championship white is still the signature color for the Type R, but you're gonna have some of your other favorites, especially that boost blue, which remember was new to the lineup when they did the refresh in 2020 on the 10th gen. Now you'll notice that extra fender flare, especially right here. This is the little secret. If you wanna look at the headlight housing where the fender is, you can see how it flares out, nicely done. From the A-pillars forward, there is nothing that is shared with your standard Civic hatchback and this Type R. It's all unique to the new 11th generation Type R. Now, as we come across the front, there it is. You got your honeycomb grille, gloss black with the iconic Type R badge, and then you have that bright red Honda badge. If you've been paying attention here on Raiti's Rides, you know that this badge is saved for the highest level of performance vehicles. Of course, Type R being one of them. It goes back to the 1960s when this was the Honda badge that was on their Grand Prix race cars that did a lot of winning back in the 60s. Now on the lower portion, I love the way they just widen the lower grille area. And I'm glad that they did not go gloss black. I think that would have been a little too gloss black heavy. You have flat black. This is gonna take a better beating. And you'll notice peeking behind this massive lower grille area is that bright silver aluminum intercooler because we're still working with turbocharged power. You'll notice the gloss black extends out. That's gonna be your splitter. We're gonna stop air from going underneath this Type R. We're gonna get gobs of air to go into that intercooler radiator, and then the rest is gonna coast around to give us that aerodynamic efficiency. But definitely from the front, you could see the extra width, and I love the way this top portion kind of just cascades down nicely into that Honda grille, and then the actual honeycomb grille has a concave surface to it. So really, really clean, but also aggressive at the same time. Now, when we get up onto that hood, this is where things get even better. You got a mile-wide heat extractor that's gonna help drag hot air out from underneath the hood. It also acts as an aerodynamic device to give us downforce, to give us that aero supremacy that we want on the track. If you remember, the 10th gen had a scoop at the back portion. I love the way that they did this, especially how it's sunk into the hood and then everything rises up towards those A-pillars. But like I said, this is all unique aluminum hood, cuts weight, unique to the Type R. Now, as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So like we showed you from Mid-Ohio, and if you haven't seen this with all the camouflage on, I'll leave that video at the end of this one. Like we showed you from Mid-Ohio, what do we got? We got these 19-inch wheels, a nice satin black, love the Y-spoke design. We got that bright red Honda badge, all of that history. But what's even better, you got massive Brembo calipers. That's gonna help shed speed like a husky sheds hair as you're going around your favorite racetrack. It's not just about performance underneath the hood, it's about the braking performance. This is still on a front-wheel drive platform, but you know what? No understeer. With that 10th generation, Honda proved that you could get rid of that torque steer and that crazy understeer when exiting a corner. This is gonna get the traction. And what's great is with a 19-inch wheel, it actually gives you more variety of sticky tires that you could put on. Now, speaking of sticky tires, we do have the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's. Those are gonna give you some stick, but they're also gonna give you some durability as well. And like I had pointed out, we're looking at 260 on the width, 30 series sidewall. We got those adaptive dampers all four corners, and I promise you, Honda went through the chassis to really make this a rigid Civic Type R, to make it handle like none other before it. But definitely the black with the white, I'm absolutely loving. Now, as we come down the fender, I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing around and show how they interpreted the fender flare. Really nicely done with that vent on the lower portion, and how everything is just so cleanly sculpted. I think many more people are gonna fall in love with this Type R a lot faster than maybe what they did with the previous gen. Now, when it comes to mirror caps, you got your gloss black, matches nicely with the other gloss black accents. You got your turn signals, slim and trim. They did go ahead and do gloss black only on the top portion, and just like before, no sunroof. Now, I know some of you might be saying, well, Joe, aren't you gonna zonk that? No. By not having a sunroof, that gives us a more rigid structure. Also, a vehicle weighs less without the sunroof than by adding the glass and all of the equipment that goes with that. So I'm glad that they stuck to their guns. I think the one thing maybe I would have liked to have seen is with the LE, if you remember that special edition, the Phoenix Yellow, if they would have blacked out the roof. I think maybe that would have kind of cut down on the white just a little bit, but other than that, that nice rigid structure. On the lower portion, look at the way that they work the side sill. Not only do you have the side sill extension that comes off that flare, but then you have a little bit of gloss black that comes towards the rear of the vehicle. And I love the way that they kicked it up to show how that air is going to be transformed from the front down the side of the vehicle. Now, a big question all over the interwebs was, is the rear of the car different? I'm here to tell you, yes, it is. If you focus on the rear passenger door, totally unique to the Type R. I'm gonna open it up and point out how you could see as we swing around that extra width that's going on here to help get the wider wheels and tires tucked underneath the bodywork. And when we talk bodywork, we're not just talking about the flow coming off the rear of the doors, the rear fenders, everything has been sculpted so that those tires are gonna be nice and clean out of the airflow, but then also having that sexy flared fender. If you remember on the 10th generation, we had that hard edge that came towards the rear of the vehicle with the fender flare to keep the tire tucked in. I really love the direction. I mean, this thing looks like a touring car from the British Touring Car Championship, all sculpted together as one. Now, as we come towards the rear, of course, if you have a Type R, you gotta have that wing, and this is a perfect interpretation of it. All gloss black. You could see the beautiful way that they mounted the spoiler to the rear hatch. And just like before with your Civic, this is more of a sportback rather than a true hatchback. And I love that look. I think a lot of people seeing this going down the road, it's gonna look almost like a sedan, but remember, this has that whole liftback design, but you'll notice full functionality. This is not just for show, it is also for go to give us that downforce at the back of the car. And I know from the previous generation, a lot of people are like, well, if this car is front wheel drive, why do you need downforce in the back? Obviously, we need to keep the car stuck to the track. So you gotta have that balance of aero up front, aero at the rear. I love the way they did the LED lights, especially on that bottom portion towards the Type R badge. So much history. Going back to 1992, and then you'll notice how you have a little bit of red in the center. Would have been nice, I'm gonna zonk this, if the light would have went across, but you do have your bright red Honda badge. I like the way they went with this nice dark chrome finish on the Civic badge rather than doing just gloss black or regular shiny chrome. And then my favorite part of the rear of this vehicle, which remember is wider and unique to the Type R, is that rear diffuser. Not only does it look like it's right off of a race car, it actually is totally functional, and you'll see the new interpretation of the 3 piped exhaust. Remember that center exhaust outlet is not only for looking good, but it also cuts down on that booming sensation at top speed when you're going down the highway and cruising. You're not gonna get that booming inside the vehicle. Now the big question mark will be, how is this gonna drive? Of course, we're gonna be bringing it to you, and how is that exhaust gonna sound? But you know what? It's that time. If you're ready, I'm definitely ready. Let's pop the hood of this new Civic Type R. All right, guys, we got the hood open, and this is where some of those surprises are showing itself. First of all, I want to showcase that functionality of that heat extractor on the hood, also for aerodynamic efficiency. This metal plate is actually removable. It's a removable rain guard. You do have a prop rod, but the good news is it's all the way over to the passenger side, and then underneath the hood, there it is. What are we looking at? We are looking at that 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine, which Honda is saying that this is going to be the most powerful of its kind. Now, the big question is that has been on everybody's mind is going to be horsepower numbers. Now, horsepower numbers are not available to me at this very moment. So there's a lot of speculation. Some people are saying 325, some people are saying 350. Where are we coming from? So these are the numbers for the 10th generation, just to give you the idea of the goalpost where we're starting from. It's a 306 horsepower, 295 pound-foot of torque engine power plant. This one, like I said, is going to have more. How much more? That's yet to be determined. It is still mated to 1 transmission and 1 transmission only. That is that slick shifting 6-speed manual. It's got the active rev match downshifting, which has been improved for the new 11th gen Type R. And then if you're remembering what were performance times, 0 to 60 on the previous gen was around 4.9 seconds, depending on how good of a dancer you are on those 3 pedals. And then of course, top speed, this was 169 miles per hour. And then one of the greatest things about the 10th generation Type R, which I'm sure will continue into this 11th generation, is MPGs. On the previous generation, 22 in the city, 28 on the highway, and the vehicle weighed 3,100 pounds. So like I said, let me think about what that power is gonna be. There's a lot of different numbers that we can throw out there. Put your guess down in that comment section. But until we could go on throttle, let's get into that interior and see what's new for the Type R. All right, guys, this is a magical moment. This is the time that we are in this all-new 2023 Honda Civic Type R. Now, what's interesting is that there's still plenty of competition with this vehicle, even though Subaru is not producing the WRX STI for the 23 model year. And what is that competition? Of course, you could look at the Hyundai Elantra N, the Veloster N. You also have the Volkswagen GTI, and of course, the Golf R. Now, A lot of people not only are wanting to know the horsepower, but also the price. That is still not available to me yet. But if you do a little bit of speculation, if you do a little bit of guesstimation, some people are saying around $42,000. We'll have to wait and see what the official price is, but let's see what the Type R is bringing for 2023 to the door panels. I love the clean style. Nice soft touch material up top. I'm digging how they brought the red into the door panel. Tastefully done, just a thin pinstripe. You got that nice aluminum style door handle. And then of course we have the microfiber suede material on the middle portion of the door and the armrest. And I'm very happy to report it's softer than what it was on the 10th gen. Now the door pocket is a little small, but you know what? If you're going to do your track day, especially here in LA, you could stop out in and get your In-N-Out burger and a bottle of Pepsi to wash it down. Even get a small fry. You could splurge and get a small fry in there. Now going from the door panel to the dash, soft touch material. We got the Bose sound system, which remember is something new to the 11th gen Civic. And I love where they moved the number plate. Now this being a very special pre-production, you could see that we have number 00000. But it's going to be really cool for owners and their passengers to be able to see that serial plate very easily readable right by the AC vents. The flat black is great, and the reason why I'm glad they went with flat black is two big reasons. First of all, it looks clean. It's going to hide the fingerprints. And number two, when you're doing your track day, no glare. If this was filled with gloss black, you're going to get glare, and that's going to cause a problem, especially at tracks like Sebring when you're going down the back straightaway into Sunset Bend. Why do you think they call it Sunset Bend? When the sun comes down, it's right in your freaking face. What else is in your face is the new 9-inch infotainment system. And I'm very happy to report I asked for it and Honda delivered. They actually have these great performance gauges. So there's actually a data logger that's all new for model year 2023. Plus, you could get all the readouts of the important information. So when you're doing your track day, you'll make sure to keep everything in check and that your Type R will be taking care of you. Same great wire mesh finish. We got our dual climate controls with the very nice tasteful knobs that they put, high quality. 2 USB A's, you got a 12 volt, and we got wireless charging. This whole area is so much cleaner in the 11th gen. And then looky what I have. We have that classic aluminum shift knob. It's in the shape of a light bulb, so I'm wondering if they really went back and looked at Thomas Edison's early schematics to design this, because it has a perfect shape. It's still aluminum. So if you have this parked in the sun, you might want to keep a sock around. I've noticed people put socks on their shift knobs. I personally would just burn the shift pattern right into my hand. That's how nice of a shifter this is. They went in and reworked the gearbox, but nice, short, crisp throws. Really going to be a pleasure to road through on your favorite twisty road. And I like the way it's all red with your gear shift pattern. You got a nice shift boot with the red stitching. And what I'm going to have to do is we're going to have to go like into third gear, which you can see how far of a throw it is. Not far at all. There's your plus R mode. And we have our drive mode selector switch. That's going to be for the different modes, suspension settings, different throttle response, steering. But this shifter does not move much. We have that classic anti-fingerprint material that was new for the 11th gen. I like the way they brought that. We have, look at it, this is the real deal key fob for the Type R, the new key fob design with the red Honda badge there. Flip it around. Of course, we don't have remote start because this is a manual, and I'm glad that this is a manual because this is where the magic happens. That microfiber suede material, 2 cup holders. We open up the door. You could easily put, I would say, a Jamba Juice shake in there. So once you're done at the track and you need some like nourishment, you could get a nice Jamba Juice. I know Lori's favorite is peach, and she gets a little bit of extra protein in it to build those strong muscles to hold that heavy camera gear. She's doing a damn good job. Put that down. Speaking of a damn good job, look at the seats. I love what they've done. You got your Type R up top. Instead of that real bright embroidery, everything is clean and subtle, but of course this red. And I'm telling you, they went through 37 different shades of red to get this perfect combination. Love the bolstering, manual assist for the passenger and the driver. That's the way it's got to be to cut down on that weight. But you know what? The bolstering is wonderful because it's going to hold you in place. And it really, once you're in, you feel like a newborn baby held by a mother. That's what you feel like. But what's new is the red carpet. I'm liking the red carpet with the floor mats, only available on a Type R. You can't get that on your Honda Civic Sport. Not going to work. But why don't you go ahead, get your butt over here. I want to show you behind the wheel of the new Civic Type R. All right, guys, here we are where you want to be, behind the business end of this all-new Civic Type R. Look at the touches, that beautiful red carpet, and of course, my favorite part are the triple pedals. You got your aluminum clutch, brake pedal, and throttle, perfectly placed to where you could do your own heel-toe downshifting, or you have the automatic rev match downshift. The only zonk is I wish they would have gave us an aluminum dead pedal. Good size dead pedal. I just would have liked to have seen it match the rest of the pedals. Now, when it comes to overall space in here, remember, I'm 6 feet tall and I feel perfect in here. You could get your helmet on for your track day, still plenty of headroom, and I think that's one of the pluses of this Type R platform, especially when comparing it to the Elantra N or the Golf R or the GTI. Now, new for 2023, which is gonna probably surprise you because it surprised me, is the steering wheel. And the reason why it's surprising me is they decided to do leather rather than the Alcantara microfiber suede material. I think a lot of that has to do with how those steering wheels wear over time. I think I saw a video on YouTube where somebody ate a chocolate donut on their Type R and then they grabbed their steering wheel and it was stained forever. But I do like the leather with the red stitching. I wish they would have done something a little bit better around the horn button, but of course that bright red Honda badge, manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel, and then we have the dash. Look at that beauty. Digital gauge display. You actually have a row of LED lights as your shift lights above the display, and then watch when you go into plus R mode. Are you ready? Because this is mind-blowing. Ba-bam! Look at the graphics. You got the gear indicator right in the center that adjusts all of the inputs, and you got all the important information below it. Really looks like something out of one of HPD's Type R's that Ryan Eversley drives on the road courses across the United States. But you know what? What's great about this car is that it has 4 doors, which means you get to share the on-throttle excitement. So let's get into the back seat of this Type R and see what your passengers are gonna think. All right, guys, here we are in the back seat, and just like Barney says, sharing is caring. That's what this Type R is about. It's not just about the driver, even though the driver is gonna have such engagement behind the wheel of this new Type R that your passengers are also gonna be able to share in the fun. Now, of course, being that 11 Gen Civic, we got more room back here than the previous 10 Gen Civic, but let's see what they changed. You'll notice the backs of the seats, there's still one piece back, but the plastic material only goes about less than halfway down. I'm gonna zonk that. I wish it would go all the way down rather than just having the cloth here, but I do like the way it says Type R, and of course we got that Alcantara. If you're hearing any rumbling, they're actually testing a special jet engine that's gonna be used in some very interesting places. That's yet to come on Raiti's Rides, but we'll continue. Back of the center console area, knock knock, who's there? Yes, we got a Type R, but we got no connectivity. Now, you might say that's there to save weight. I'm gonna say that we need some connectivity back here, at least one USB. So that's gonna be a zonk. But like I said, I'm sitting here, you got the great rooms, being 6 feet tall, you got the red carpet, goes all the way back. Now, and there's that beautiful red carpet even over the center area with the red floor mats. Those red floor mats add 5 extra horsepower. Now, I know a lot of people are probably wondering, well, did they change the back seat compared to the previous generations? No, this is gonna be your standard black cloth from a standard Civic with the red stitching, which is nice. And to cut weight, what they do is they make the center a cup holder. So you could put your 2 drinks back here, maybe put some Skittles or something for your passengers. No armrest. Why? To cut weight. But of course, what they did do is bring the red seat belts for another 5 extra horsepower. So let me know what you think, if they should have brought the red to the back. I know a lot of people were saying that for the previous generation. Also, let me know what you think about maybe having an option for rear seat delete. Remember, another competitor to this car, which is new, is the GR Corolla, And you got that Marizo edition that you could get with a rear seat delete. That would be a nice little option, especially if you have no need for a rear seat. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the cargo area, because I heard this new Type R could haul the mail faster than the previous generation. Let's see how much mail we can fit back there. All right, guys, one of the reasons why this is a hot hatch is because you have that very flexible, usable hatchback of this platform. Real easy to do, nice and light. You just hit the button, you raise it up, and this is where it puts the competition to shame, especially when you look at vehicles like the Golf R. You're looking at a ton of cargo room. So just like we showed you on your standard Civic hatchback, how the volume of cargo has increased, so has in this Type R. Just like before, you got the 60-40 Tango split on the rear seats. What's great about this vehicle is that it's the most versatile. You have that very smartly engineered security shade, which actually goes across here to block everything out instead of being your traditional one that gets pulled back because of the shape of the rear glass and the hatch. And this is the type of vehicle that, guess what, if you want to go do your track days, you don't need to have another vehicle to carry the stuff that you need. This will get you to the track. You could do your hot laps, and then you could pack everything back up and go home. But you know what? I'm dying to go on throttle in this Type R. I know you are as well. It will be happening in the next few months. But you know what? They're telling me they got to shut down this hangar because word is out that the secret location is now known. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's wrap it up from LA with this new Type R. All right, guys, it's been one special kind of day here at this secret hangar location. All that I could tell you is that we're in Los Angeles, California. I first of all got to thank the whole Honda team for allowing Raiti's Rides access to this all-new Type R, which means you got to have access to this all-new Type R. Let me know what you think. Has Honda continued to move the goalposts for the competition? And remember, since 2017, there's some new players. Some players have left, but there's some new players to go up against this vehicle that we talked about. So let me know in the comment section if you think this Type R is the best new performance sport compact, and we'll see what the price is gonna be. But put your choice in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. We gotta give it up to the queen behind the lens, Lori, working that camera like a champ around this championship white Type R. Show Lori some love in that comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.